Hi, Heather.
Hi, Krista.
Happy almost birthday.
Thank you.
It's funny to me because your birthday was kind of the initial spark that ended up getting you and me together into this partnership. I was just thinking about that because for
Remind
your
me.
50th birthday, you had done the 50 questions series,
Oh, that's right.
right? And because that went off so freakishly well and crashed your website and created like 1,000 million emails,
Huge hassle.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, I noticed you stressing in your blog posts and I reached out to you and then we got together and
Right.
yeah, now 7 years later or 14 years later, pretty much. No,
No,
wait.
it's
How
10. 10. It
no,
was
10?
50th. Yeah, 10 years because it was on
10
my
years just
51st
about.
birthday
That's right.
that I launched that, and I'm turning 60 in 2 days. And
Yeah.
yeah, we set up this 50 questions. And now that you say that, I feel like I should like
Reissue. You got to add 10
reissue
more.
that. Maybe I will. And yeah, but I'd set up this whole email system that they'd get a new question every day, and it
Yes.
totally failed. And I was heading out to the folk
The
festival, which
Folk
I do
Fest.
every year, and it was like, oh my gosh, I had to drive back into the city a couple of
Uh-huh.
times to set up the email. It was just one of those huge hassles.
Yeah.
I mean, and it, like you say, it sold well, so there was a lot of people
Mhm.
registering, and it was like just kept crashing. Yeah, that was a bit of a nightmare. It was one of those moments like, "Oh, I can't do this all by myself. I can't,
Yeah.
I can't handle all the administration of running these little details and especially when that's not my strong suit. So yes, that's when you came in
Krista
and
to the
started
rescue.
started rescuing me, and you haven't stopped since.
For better, some days better than others. Here we are. Oh man, 10 years. That's wild to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been I don't know, like so interesting to sort of think back about how far we've both come. And like we've both been through such very like we're in different phases of our life, right? Like we're 15 years
Yeah.
apart. So
Yeah.
we're at very different life phases. So I felt very privileged to be able to witness your journey because,
My fumbling my way through.
well, I
You get
mean,
to learn from my
truly, but
mistakes. Is that what
thankfully,
you're saying?
thank you, well, a little bit, but also from your successes. I mean, you launched three daughters successfully
Yeah.
into the world.
Mhm.
Um, you traveled, you launched a business with me, you have moved, you found, you're making a new home in Vancouver Island and
Published two
like
books.
published two books. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's a lot. You've done a lot in 10 years, Heather.
Yeah, I have. Now that you mentioned it, I kind of have.
You've done a lot. And like not just moved yourself, but moved all three of your daughters multiple times to very different ends of
Different
this
cities
very large
across the
country.
vast country. Yes, I've put in many, many miles hauling U-Haul trailers across this
Yeah,
country. Yeah.
absolutely you have. And
Yeah.
like, I mean, that's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Um, and I think out of that incredibleness, like we've been able to connect with so many super cool people.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, and now we're
I
sort of
should count
both,
even the number of
you
countries I've
should.
been in since I was turned 50,
Yes,
because it's been a lot of, yeah.
that's
And
right.
even though we had the pandemic in there and really put a pause on the travel, I've still managed to teach in a number of countries and travel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and do a lot
Yeah.
of interesting work. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you joke about your failures, but I'm seeing a lot of successes there too, my friend.
You're making me feel
So,
like I need a rest. I'm like, oh, that was 10
I
years of
mean,
heavy lifting.
listen, we've talked about that too.
Yeah,
And
yeah, and
both forced
I
each other
do.
onto rests at
I'm
various
pretty
times.
good at resting at this stage of my life, so I'm not worried about
True
that.
enough.
Yeah.
So what do you have planned for this week, my friend? I know that we've got we that you and I are working on. Well, you're working on it, and I'm working on figuring out how to support it.
Yeah.
A new program. Do you want to
Yeah.
do you want to tease that?
Sure. So yeah, this week is celebration of turning 60, which feels like a huge milestone. Really feels I
Mm,
don't know. I don't think I've ever in my life processed an upcoming birthday as much as I have this one. I think almost the whole year since I turned 59. I've
Mm,
been really kind of processing what does 60 mean. And I think I've been thinking about that partly because I remember seeing several years ago watching a Jane Fonda talk about turning 60, and she realized on her 60th birthday that she was entering the third act. And if you know
mm,
anything about plays, a third act is when things start to resolve. Like in the second act, like you
right,
build the story in the first act, second act, things fall apart and there's conflict and and it feels like a whole lot of disparate threads are
right.
hanging loose. And then in the third act, things have to resolve and come together and complete the story. And so that's been on my mind a lot. I've been thinking,
Mm,
so not that and I mean, it's no secret that I overthink these things. I sometimes try too hard to make meaning out of things, which also becomes a bit of a stumbling block. But yeah, I've been thinking partly because in the last few years it's been such a monumental change in terms of my three daughters, all fairly quickly launching, and heading off very far for me, and then empty nesting, but then also changing nests to a whole other location and developing new friends and being in a place where I really knew nobody and I had to start from scratch in terms of building
scratch.
community. Some moments I think, what have I done? Why did I think that was a good idea? But yeah, I really kind of flipped my life around too in disrupting what was to begin something new. So it does feel, and I've just moved into a new home. So that also feels like a whole nother layer of this. Okay, so what's the next story? And
Mm,
and how does my birthday play into that? And I've been reading a lot in this year about aging and what it means to for our bodies to change, to move through menopause. I'm on the other side of it than you. You and I talk a lot of about it, but you're
yeah,
in the perimenopause stage. I'm in the postmenopause stage, and in
yeah,
between, there's this great gulf of, of a woman's transition and change.
yeah.
And oh yeah, it's like a whole nother adolescence gets knocked. It gets
Yep.
it's like we have to go through this whole hormonal change and stuff. And so now, yeah, so then I think a lot about, okay, so what's on the other side of that? And there's been a lot of opening for me and a lot of change and a lot of changes about the way I walk in the world and what things matter to me, what I prioritize,
Hmm.
and how does our culture treat aging, especially in women? And so I've been spending quite a lot of time reading and wanting to be intentional about claiming this aging period. And I've also written quite a lot about losing a couple of friends, and especially my friend Randy, going
Yeah.
through his dying process with him. So I've thought a lot about getting to the latter part of your life and how do you prepare even for your death and for your legacy beyond death. And that's a lot of things to be processing for a year.
I mean, for most people, it would be. For you, it feels normal to me, but
Just another year. Exactly.
just another year.
But I did sort of, and this is no secret because I've talked about it quite a lot, but I
Yeah.
sort of hit the wall with it a little bit about two
Yeah.
months ago when I found out I had to move. It sent me into a bit of a spiral, and I think it was partly because I was overthinking. I was in too much of a
Sure.
wanting to make meaning and stuff like that. And so I went into this place of I wasn't feeling very creative. I couldn't write. I wasn't even reading the books I normally read. I stopped listening to most of the podcasts I tend to listen to. It was like I
Hmm.
could only handle kind of like brain candy stuff. And I started things sort of shut down and you call it
Yeah.
a depression or whatever. But I think it's also just sort of a part of the transition into something new in terms of, like sometimes you just
Right.
it's almost like I had to stop the overthinking for a while and put a pause on it. And now I'm coming back into very intentionally trying to re-engage the playful creativity and not the overthinking, but like how do I want to live into this in a way that's really engaged with the world and creative and still deep in my meaning making, but also Like I've had this really beautiful relationship with the land I live in on and the trees and learning from the trees and being playful on my kayak and on the lake and stuff. And so that all leads me to what I wanted to talk about and what you made reference to is that I'm launching this new program. It's been kind of some time in the making, and
Hmm.
as my programs tend to be, they churn a lot in my head before anything sees the light of day. So we're starting this program called Whale Song. And
Mm.
being here on the West Coast, been really inspired by whales, especially the killer whales or the orcas, who live in matriarchal societies. And the matriarch, a postmenopausal female, a grandmother in the pod, is the leader and wisdom keeper and
Hmm.
teacher of the pod. And I've really been inspired by that. And so I wanted to create a space where those of us that are in aging bodies from perimenopause all the way through postmenopause can get together and be creative together, be in space together, just being playful. It's not going to be a content driven kind of program. It's more about let's show up in the same space, be in circle together, create together, have meaningful conversations about what this means to be maturing women.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I'm when you told me about it, I got super excited, obviously, because um during the pandemic when we were at home all the time, like I had this rush of creativity and I wrote and I wrote and I wrote and I wrote. Probably nothing that will ever see the light of day, but I did a lot of writing. And in the years since, it's kind of dried up a little bit because it's just the weight of the world has just been kind of bearing down and quashing
Yeah.
and then the perpetual scroll and the way that that is sort of usurping our attention and all the rest of it. Um, and the changing hormones, like you say, like it's whew.
Yeah.
Like even when people tell you about it, it's hard to really understand what it's like until you go through it, and it's so different for everybody.
And some
And
I only recognize in retrospect, honestly.
right,
Sometimes I'm like,
totally,
oh, that was
exactly
perimenopause.
that
I had
was.
no idea.
Totally, totally.
Yeah.
So to be able to have a potential space where we can come together and just kind of be creative. And I mean, I know like menopause online right now has become a huge seller. Like it's the hook for everything, like every supplement, every coaching thing,
Yeah.
like all of the
We're
things.
not selling you any of that stuff, let me tell
No,
you.
no. But one of the things I did see today was this idea that, patriarchal capitalism has sold us this idea that women lose their worth after they
Yes.
stop being able to have kids, after their fertility window closes. And patriarchal capitalism tells us that because we are so powerful once we are done focusing on kids. Like
Yeah.
now we can redirect our energy. We can redirect our energy to, yeah, like system
We have the
changing
time for
things.
it. We have more space in our lives
Yeah,
for it.
totally.
And we we have less need to please people and
Absolutely.
more
Well, and
ability
just
to
we have
tell the truth.
less, yeah, that the estrogen that drove us to be in that caretaking please people pleasing kind of space all of the time,
Yeah,
it dries up, it goes away,
yeah,
and it can be real jarring to experience the occasional bouts of irrational rage that can
yeah.
come when that happens. That was the thing that surprised me the most, anyway, because I generally don't think of myself as a very angry person. Um,
I was busy getting my divorce at your age, so yeah,
yeah,
I know a
yeah,
little bit
mhm,
about
yeah.
irrational rage and
Well, it makes
hormonal.
more and more sense to me why people around this age do start upending relationships.
Yeah, yeah, makes a lot of
um,
sense.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, your patience can just be about that big.
Yeah,
So yeah, so I'm super excited to be able to get together with other people who are feeling sort of in this space of, yeah, like I want to tap into some creativity. I want to make something. I want to dream a
yeah,
world that's better and put it on
yeah,
paper
yeah,
or
yeah.
into words or into song or into
Song
art, like
or
whatever.
yeah. Yeah, when I first was dreaming this into being, you and I were first talking about it as a writing program, and then I kind of had an insight because I started playing with I was making a mosaic at the time, and I'm
Yeah,
like, oh, I don't want this to just be writing. I want it to
yeah,
be any kind of creativity. I want people to show up in the circle as whatever is inspiring them. And it can be the creativity that will lead to some meaningful output, like
yeah,
an art piece or a book or something like that. Or it can also just be the kind of playful stuff that helps us process. And I do a lot of that kind of thing that never sees the light of day,
yeah,
whether it's art journaling or whatever, doodling or just making messes in my backyard or like woodworking was a big
yeah.
one. Woodworking got me through my divorce. Power
Totally.
tools. Power tools helped me through
Love
my
that.
divorce. If that's what it is, if it's just helping you get through this kind of chaotic. And I remember during the pandemic, and I shared this online, I called it my messy COVID art practice because
Yes,
I
that's
got
right.
just a huge canvas in my basement and I just started finger painting. I put on loud music and I would just start moving because I needed my body to move and I needed there was something about the paint on my hands and
Yeah,
just being really messy. And I would just kept layering on top of this, like huge canvas. I don't know how many layers of paint, but every day
yeah,
was a new layer of paint. And that
yeah,
was what I needed at that time during a weird time. So
yeah.
yeah, that's what it's an invitation to, is to find some kind of
Mhm.
practice that will, that helps you, move through this time and hopefully get better at finding your own voice in this time
Mhm.
because I think we're at kind of a critical moment when we absolutely need the voices of maturing women to come forward, and so we want to foster that in the people that gather.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I know I'm super excited about it, so I hope others are as well.
Hope so.
More details are coming. Where are we at?
Yeah. Well, it's almost ready. You got to set up the registration
Right,
page.
right. That's on me.
We can give people as they can go look at it already. If the
Yeah.
registration link doesn't work yet, it will be ready
I'll get that done right after this.
by Wednesday, which is the official launch date. It's just centerforholdingspace.com/whale song.
Whale
And
song.
we'll put a link to it on the bottom of the video too.
Yeah.
And we're trying to make it accessible. So there's a range of prices. You can pay what you can within a range. And so hopefully it's accessible and we get and yeah, we're gonna meet in different ways and be playful in how we gather and
Yeah. Yeah. So if you want to dedicate some space to being creative, this is it. This is the time. This is
yeah,
the place. And I know like when you were first telling me about this too, that was one of the things I said. Like I would love to just have space to know that okay, like this day and this week, this is when
yeah,
I get to sit down and like work on this thing.
yeah,
So that's gonna be super great.
yeah. It should
Can't
be fun.
wait. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, check out our website. More
Yeah.
information to come. Official launch date is Wednesday.
Wednesday, my
So
birthday.
Heather's birthday.
Yeah.
You can send Heather lots of good wishes. If you want, you can buy her a cup of coffee. We got a
You
link for
can.
that
We'll throw the link
below.
into that too, for
Yeah,
that too. Yeah. Or sign up.
absolutely.
That's a good birthday present. If you want to buy me something,
Even
sign up
better.
for the
Sign up.
or pay for it and let somebody else have your spot too. It's another
Even
option.
better.
We always
Yeah.
welcome you to give it to somebody else.
Absolutely. If it's not the time for you, it might be for someone else. But if you are able to contribute to let someone else have that time, that is totally welcome too.
Exactly.
Yeah, we love that. That's how we function around here,
Yeah.
looking out for each other when we can.
Yeah.
Okay, happy birthday. I mean, I'll probably say it again on your birthday, but
You can say
in
it as many times
advance.
as you
That's
want.
right. Happy birthday.
My friend Sally has said that I'm celebrating for a whole month and I'm allowed to at this age. I can
100%.
celebrate for
100%. Let's celebrate for the whole year, as far as I'm concerned. Super 60s. Love it.
Yeah, it's going to be a good decade.
You betcha. Alrighty. Until next time.